Hi, I'm James, the Executive Director of Frameline, and welcome to a very special Q&A for The Greenhouse. I really hope you enjoyed Thomas Wilson White's ambitious and moving film. Now, if you're watching because you love quality Australian content, then I'm pleased to announce that in our July post-festival screening, we're going to be showing Showtime's The End, a TV series made by the producers of the hit series Top of the Lake. We'll be screening some episodes and then doing an exclusive Q&A. Also at the end of this Q&A, we're going to be interviewing Erin Stam, the Executive Vice President of International Production at Ozfilm, about production in Australia. So stick around for that. And thank you to everyone at Austrade and the Australian Consulate General in San Francisco. So now let's bring on the filmmakers. Hi, everyone.
Hi, James.
Thank you. If I could get you all to introduce yourself.
My name is Thomas Wilson White, and I am the writer-director of The Greenhouse.
My name is Jane Watt, and I get to play the character of Beth in The Greenhouse, who is the lead character.
And I'm Lizzie Cater, and I'm the producer of The Greenhouse.
Amazing. Well, congratulations to all of you. It's such an ambitious film. It's got everything. It's got time travel and comedy bits and emotional drama and creepy moments. Like, you pulled it off. You saw everything there, and I love it. I'm so curious, though, where did this idea come from? How did this project start?
Good question, and thank you for your kind words. I guess it kind of came from a feeling that I was having that I wanted to do something kind of a bit ambitious and a bit crazy. I was really frustrated by the pathways for queer filmmakers in Australia and how long it would take to get work made, how hard it would be. And so I kind of just said to Lizzie, like, let's just make a feature film and let's just kind of give it our all and see how we go. I was at a point in my life where one of my mums had been diagnosed with cancer. And so I was spending a lot of time sort of thinking about the past and the way that, like, when she was diagnosed with cancer, we just like crossed this threshold where I felt like I went from being a boy to being a man. And I was like, wow, you don't really realize how simple and how easy you have it until something like that happens. And suddenly it was just like, it was a real watershed moment where my life just changed. So I went, I really want to write about yearning and nostalgia and looking back. And I want to do it in a way that will challenge everyone involved. And also, there's just a touch, like probably like 10% like crazy about it, where it was like, this is huge. But I knew that if I got the right people around me who cared as much as I did about this story and about representing queer stories and also who knew my family and knew, why it was important, that we would, at least have fun. And we did.
That's amazing. And Lizzie, when did you come in?
Well, for context, Tom and I, we've known each other since he was a young boy, and our families were kind of grew up in parallel. So our mums were best friends. They were younger as well. So I kind of I don't know if I had a choice. But yeah, so we'd made some shorter form projects together. And I knew, we had such a great, we had such great communication. We had so much love for one another. And I really loved Tom's approach to filmmaking. I love the fact that he was really passionate about telling queer stories, but in a really like unconventional way. So I sort of came in as he was developing it, and kind of have been involved since.
That's amazing. And I'm very curious, the script is so ambitious and both of you just went for it. Were you daunted by it all?
Yeah, I think I was. I think my constitution as a person is that I just like run at something, and often I'm like, don't tell me that it will be bad. Or like, don't give me actual advice. Because I think I was. Yeah, exactly. And I think when I was going through film school, I would hear these people who were basically saying like, don't try because it's too hard. And that really fueled me in my formative years to be like, well, I'm actually going to try really hard and prove you wrong. I look back on that and I'm like, well, that was me being frustrated with the entire system that we live in as queer people. And I think it's like an essential part of being a queer person is that resilience and courage to be like, I'm going to prove you wrong because, otherwise I'll just sit around being sad all the time. Yeah.
I think as well, though, with the script, I think it was a really interesting way that you navigated it, Tom, where instead of being like, well, we don't have access to a heap of money, so I better write within those parameters. It was kind of the opposite. That, one of the versions that we had was, 50 times more action. And, there was until Tom got a quote on what that would cost to make. Okay, I'm going to do this. Rewrite.
Slightly amend that scene.
Anyone got a red pen? So I think that was a really nice kind of difference, as opposed to sort of feeling like you're creating within restrictions, just like create the thing that you would like to see and that you would like to make, and then pare it back where you need to, but allow yourself the chance to see if you can get it done. And I think that was, really enjoyable. And I think as well, that kind of license to try really came through on the set as well, because a lot of the false effects and things like that we were doing live, we were all trying to figure out together, and Tom was really great at delegating, not feeling like he had to come up with all the answers and be like, all right, Sky, our amazing lighting designer, you have to figure out how to make it change from day to night. I don't know how we're going to do this, but we've got to go shoot some stuff over here, but let's see if we can make that happen, and then so it just meant that everyone in the ensemble or, the cast and crew felt like they were all able to bring some sort of their own ingenuity to the project as well, which I think was really exciting.
Yeah, it's amazing. I can't wait to hear a little bit more about how the film was made, but I really wanted to touch on for a moment this making queer independent films in Australia at this moment, with other titles such as Ellie and Abby and Ellie's Dead Aunt, A Secret in a Blue Room. There's just so many that are coming out of the system that are these like micro-budget, amazing queer films that are telling stories that we haven't seen in Australia before. What do you think's going on that this is such a trend?
I think where there's more conversation and understanding of like the system that we're in and how it is maybe preferencing a different sort of filmmaker or artist. We have like more vocabulary around it of how to articulate like, well, why is that happening? And I think that from my point of view and in my experience, like a couple of years ago, the conversation just shifted and suddenly people were saying, oh, like that I've been told that queer stories don't fit in this or that genre, but actually that person who told me that doesn't know what they're talking about. And we just haven't seen it. And we need to now go and do that critical work of like, how do you turn queer narratives and how do you expand queer narratives so that they're actually not just boxed into what maybe they were. And the people like Monica and Sam who made those two films that you referenced, like I know them and I know that they are on that train too of like, how do we transform queer cinema? I do think we just have more resources, more visibility, and we're able to connect. Like for me, like watching the American queer filmmakers that I'm obsessed with in the last decade gave me so much courage, but it also gave me like a vocabulary of how to speak to people in positions of power and convince them like, well, Joey Soloway did it in Transparent, so I can do it, and here's why. And that in that way, where I'm standing on those people's shoulders to get my film made.
I love the spirit of just getting out there and doing it. That's kind of there at the moment. And there have been very young filmmakers, often 25 or younger, that just get out there and finish a film. And it's a really exciting moment right now for Australian queer cinema. I love it.
Yeah.
And speaking of just doing it, tell us about shooting this film. Like, did you all go and live in that house that's in the movie? Like, how did it work?
We still live there. No,
I wish.
I never left.
Yeah.
I mean, before we got to set, like I knew I wanted to work with Jane, and I knew that I wanted Jane, that there was no one else that I could imagine playing Beth, because Jane is a formidable actor, and that comes as a surprise to a lot of people because she does a lot of improv and comedy in Australia. So everyone's like, wait a second, she does drama. But I guess we'd worked together on a couple of shorts, and I had sort of seen something in her where I was like, I think she's crazy enough to do this with me. And so that kind of was the
desperate enough to do this with me.
Exactly.
Kidding. Sorry.
And so we shot it in our hometown as well, where Lizzie and I grew up. So that was a huge plus, because we were able to go back to a place where I knew everyone and they'd been really like championing my career. So I was able to go, I want to make my feature here. And I'll let Lizzie speak a bit more about that maybe, because my memory of it is, just basically just repressed now from trauma. I'm kidding. And I guess we just went down there and lived there and shot the movie, right?
Yeah.
No, and I think it really is. I mean, I think of it fondly, but I also think of it as like there is a part of my brain where I'm just like, that was crazy, and I can't remember. Like, it's weird watching the film in a cinema as well on screen, because you're like, I don't remember shooting that. Like, how did we do that? But yeah, like as Tom said, like we had an amazing cast and crew that just gave us their time and their energy and their passion. We were so supported by the community there as well. So like we had like people that knew us as like 12-year-olds, like bringing scones to set and like linen and like setting us up with houses and stuff. And so it was really beautiful, because it was kind of like we took this group of filmmakers and kind of like just plonked ourselves into the community and had people kind of like help us. And they were so excited to just kind of be a part of it, which was really, it was just really gorgeous.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And
it's occasionally every day you'd kind of be like, do we have enough money for lunch or catering? You're like, oh yeah, we got it through. Someone's got, the restaurant's going to give us free stuff. I think. So occasionally you'd sort of see Lizzie or Tom be like, oh, how are we going to, but
there was meltdowns.
Yeah, there was a few meltdowns, but I mean, still, it felt like, mum and dad keeping the children safe from like their fighting. It was like, we were like, it's perfect, right? We're fine. We like this
and like together. Yeah.
I think there's like a specific tree in the property where Lizzie and I would go to talk behind the tree trunk so no one could see us, to have like really gnarly chats about like, we don't have that thing, or like that actor can't come down, so you need to recast right now, like all of that. It was very much run and gun, I think you could call it.
Yeah, but sorry.
Oh no, you go, Lizzie.
Well, I just think it's such a testament, like from a producerial point of view, like that's why I love working with Tom so much, is because he is really nimble and often he's quite idealistic and I am the voice of reason. But instead of me kind of going, you can't have that, and him going, well, chucking a hissy fit, like really his ability to adapt and kind of like work in collaboration with everybody on set. Like I think that's the whole reason why, not the whole reason, but like one of the big reasons, why the film exists.
And it's, I think as well, one final thing, I'm just like the feel of the set and the cast and crew. It's also that thing of like, if you go to someone's party and you trust who the host is and you love the host, it's going to be a good party kind of thing, in the sense that we know and love Tom and Lizzie and understanding the kind of people that they're going to bring together and the sort of feel that they're going to foster on the set is going to be something that you want to be part of. And it absolutely was. So it meant that, you did have people who maybe hadn't worked together and other people who had extensively, but everyone by the end had this real strong sense of camaraderie and love for the project that I think was also required to kind of get through those tough times.
Yeah.
Amazing. And look, Jane, you're so good in the film. I really enjoyed your performance, but there's so many amazing actors.
I have some notes.
I'm sure everybody knows. Look, what a great ensemble cast, though. Like, so many amazing dramatic moments and some very funny moments as well. It's just incredible. And Jane, what was it like working with everybody?
Great. I mean, to be honest, I'd known a lot of the people in the ensemble, as in the siblings. So the guy who plays Raph, Joel Horwood, and Kirsty Marilia, I actually went to drama school with them. So they were very dear friends of mine. And Shiv Kalakar, who plays Andrew, I also knew. So in a sense of creating that ensemble of all of the sort of dinner scenes and things, after you've been to drama school with people for 3 years and you've kind of, had to pretend to be a tree and been like, am I good enough? But, I think when it comes to doing improv around a table, it helps a lot to sort of have that, that history together. So that was really wonderful. And then the mums, I mean, Rhonda and Camilla were just so wonderful to work with and brought such kind of, sort of a weight and a sort of grounded energy to the set and to the ensemble that I think was really useful and they were wonderful to play off of. So yeah, it was a delight. It was a real delight.
Yeah.
I mean, I occasionally can remember getting bummed out because there's that kind of like group feel where my character is kind of like, I'm having a sad time over here and you guys are all having fun, and occasionally that did come through on set because I'd be like, I'm tired, I've been working since 7, and they all got to do sort of fun banter and I had to sort of sit and be sad and stare at the wall. So occasionally that did bleed through into me being like, oh, I wish I could have a fun time. Overall, it was extremely lovely and supportive as well, and everyone kind of, shared the load a lot.
It's amazing. Changing topic just slightly, the film for me at its heart really is about like queer families, and coming out and having queer parents and all of those kinds of things. I'd love to just hear a little bit about how that was important to you, Thomas, and why you were so attracted to that particular theme so much.
Yeah, I mean, I have 2 mums, and a majority of my siblings are queer as well. And I think growing up, there was just implicitly in the fabric of the world around us, we were kind of told that we weren't like a regular normal family, and therefore we weren't deserving of the attention or the representation, the narratives, like a normal, like nuclear family. And that has really been like the core of all of my work actually for the last couple of years. Just this, the concept that like family is truly like whatever family is for you. And as a queer person and with rainbow families, like we know like that person who is not biologically related to you is still your brother or sister or parent or whatever. And so I think it's just really on my heart at all times to be challenging this concept of what constitutes a family. And, my stepmom, Polly, who passed away in 2018 and who is, the reason I wrote this film, she came into my life when I was 7 years old and she just became my mom and she changed my life, And so I found it very challenging growing up to have people kind of devaluing that relationship when she was my mom, because she was a lesbian and because she was my stepmom. And so it's just, as an artist and as a writer, I will never not be flying this flag because I think it's really important that we, expand representation of family.
Amazing. I think the film does that beautifully.
Thank you.
So congratulations. On a final note, you all got to have a real life premiere, which from an American perspective is very strange, but people came to a cinema back in February, I think, and watched your film with lots of people.
Yeah.
Like,
it was the best. I was just saying before, it was really emotional because there was just so many people in the cinema, and it was something that, you know, when Lizzie and I finished the film in lockdown last year, so we did everything over Zoom, like ADR, color grading, sound, music, it was all happening over Zoom. And so there was a lot of conversations about like, well, you know, don't get too excited. You're probably not going to have a release, or if you do, it's gonna kind of be this like patchwork thing. And so it was really exciting to finally realize that we were going to premiere in a cinema and have all of our friends who we love there with us. It was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very special and something not a lot of filmmakers have had in this last year. So
no, we're really, really lucky. And even like having, like even finishing the film like during lockdown, even that feels really, you know, I think we're really, really fortunate. We were able to get it done at such a trying time.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want to leave us on a sad note, so let's say something else that's nice and happy or something. But the film is beautiful, and I really love how ambitious it is, and I really love the fact that you managed to put all these genres together and pull it off. You know, you laugh, you cry, all of it. So congratulations, and I really hope everyone at Frameline just loves the film.
It's such a dream to be playing at Frameline. Like literally, it's been on the top of our list from the very second we even came up with the film. So this is a dream. We're really stoked.
I'm so pleased. I'm so pleased. Thank you all. I'm going to bring up Erin from Ozfilm now, but thank you everybody for coming. I really appreciate it.
Of course.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Erin, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. How are you doing, James?
Yeah, good. Thank you so much. So Ozfilm, tell us about it and what's your role there?
Well, I'm so happy to be here and huge congrats on the festival. So Ozfilm has offices in both Sydney and Los Angeles, and we connect the international film community with Australia's screen incentives and talent and facilities. So we are a partnership between industry and government. Our membership comprises federal and state governments, the major studios, and leading production service providers across post, digital, visual effects, aerial cinematography, travel, financial, legal, and beyond. My role is as EVP of International Production. So I run the LA office, and the LA office promotes those incentives and locations and stages and service providers and talent. So we're the gateway for international filmmakers when they want to film in Australia or post in Australia or co-produce in Australia.
That's amazing. And look, there's been some great films coming out of Australia in recent years. I mentioned before, some really great LGBTQ plus indie ones as well, which makes me so excited. There's a lot of talent coming out at the moment. What do you think's going on?
Well, Australia has a long tradition of storytelling with voices that want to be heard and stories that must be told. And I worked for 4 years in Australia recently, and I was super inspired by the filmmakers and the talent I met. They pushed so hard to get their projects made and really worked to make sure that their stories connected deeply with audiences. But one thing that really stood out to me was that the storytelling does not always take the path that's expected. There's a desire to do something a little bit different or a little less conventional. And I think that can be incredibly impactful and leave a deep impression on the viewer. And I think it's something that makes audiences continue to seek out projects made by Australians.
That's amazing. And look, there's a lot of international products in Australia right now. Like, it's a boom happening.
It is.
Why did you choose Australia?
Australia has definitely been a destination for international productions for a long time. Amazing and diverse locations, incredible talent, great crews, such great service providers. I think Australia's had a COVID-safe environment, which helped, but I would also point towards the replenishment of the location incentive last July, which made the financial situation very favorable for international productions looking to shoot there. And then they come to Australia, they have a great experience, and they want to come back. I mean, it's been really wonderful to see the consistent level of production that creates jobs, keeps people employed, and really helps the industry to keep growing. And I guess I would say to anyone out there filmmakers who have film and TV projects, who want help with anything Australia related, please reach out to us. We're happy to help in any way that we can.
That's so amazing. Look, thank you for letting us hear a little bit about your organization. It's really fascinating. I love it. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
No worries. And thank you to everyone for watching this amazing Q&A with Erin and the cast and crew of The Greenhouse.